Greetings, sports entertainment enthusiasts! This is CAW Acadian champion Homeless Bob, and you are currently watching Wrestle Geeks Recaps, catching you up on AEW Dynamite, NXT, and so very much more.
Welcome everybody to Wrestle Geeks Recaps for Impact Wrestling. We had a great episode after Rebellion. It was really good. I'm happy with a lot of the stuff happening. We are going to get into it. I am your host, The Geek, Trevor Firth, and I am joined by our Impact Predictions champion, the modern day Viking, Jay Scriven. So what's up, man? How's it been going?
Yeah, man, everything's good. Just a quick shout out. I want to say happy birthday to my middle daughter, who's 10 this week. And obviously a happy birthday out to the Geek yourself, mate. Happy birthday. I think when this gets posted, it will be yesterday.
Yes, when this gets posted, my birthday will be yesterday. From recording, it's in a few days. It's in 2 days, so thank you very much, man.
No worries, dude.
But we got some cool stuff happening outside of Impact Wrestling right now that I just want to bring up quickly. So over on AEW we have Deana. Whoa, that was weird.
Oh,
whoa, that was weird. Jon Moxley. Oof. Defending the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship against Yuji Nagata, who is a Japanese legend, and is still active in New Japan today. So that's happening on Dynamite. So that's really cool. I'm happy about that. We're also getting... Oh, man. So we just had a big AAA show, like the first AAA show back, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And we have I don't remember her first name, Apache, wins the AAA women's title. And Deana Purrazzo comes out. Not like goes over a video screen or no. Deana Purrazzo physically is there. And she comes out with her Impact Knockouts champion, and she's just like, that belt that you just won? Yeah, it's mine. And she challenges her for the title. So that's amazing, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait. That's so exciting. And the last
title, hasn't he?
Sorry?
Black Taurus just won a title as well for the AAA.
Yeah, Black Taurus just won a title in AAA. I'm not sure which one it was, but like, goddamn, like there's some cool stuff happening. I'm happy AAA is running again. But I think the biggest piece of news is Andrade going out of his way to challenge Kenny Omega for the AAA, for AAA's Mega Campeon, their main belt. And that's cool. That was just like, yes. Because Andrade's just like, you've been doing that belt nothing but a disservice. And like everything Andrade had said was basically how I have felt about Kenny Omega being the AAA champion. So I'm like, where's the belt? I never see it. It's never on screen. So you know what I mean? It's really cool to hear Andrade say the same concerns. So there's some cool stuff happening, man.
I think they've really missed a chance there where they could have shown the AAA belt, which would have just brought. I know from my side, it would have definitely. I would have gone and checked them out a little bit more, as kind of gone. Oh well, let's have a look what they're doing.
Especially with the fact that they were gearing up to come back, like. Yeah. But it is what it is. Unfortunately, we're gonna go into BTI. For Impact. This is the last episode of April 29th. And this is the first episode after Rebellion. Right away, before we go into BTI, the last thing I want to say is that I was very disappointed on Dynamite. They did not bring up. They just didn't bring it up. They didn't bring up Rebellion at all. They didn't bring up the fact that Kenny Omega now has 4 belts instead of 2. You know, it's like, oh, the insult. It's so insulting. I hate it.
I haven't watched AEW for a while. Probably since we last did one for AEW, and I'm very excited with the chance of Sami Callihan going over. Like he's teased on Twitter about reforming the Switchblade conspiracy.
Yeah,
it's John Moxley, obviously, and yeah,
that'd be sick. I'd love it. Especially with Kingston right now being like the third man, Eddie Kingston would be really cool.
Yeah.
But BTI itself, man, I missed it this week completely.
Yeah. So, well, you didn't miss anything. Like, honestly, so most of it was a recap of Rebellion. So if you didn't buy Rebellion, it just gave you a reason not to.
True.
That's it. And then you get Johnny. Is it Johnny Swinger?
Yeah.
He's backstage, and Hernandez comes up, like he's walking back, and he's like, "Yo, Daddy, I need you to be my muscle because I owe this bloke $20K, and I want to pay him." And Hernandez like, "Well, I thought you said you couldn't pay him." He's like, "I didn't say I couldn't pay him. I said I don't want to pay him." And then you get, okay, so George Intel, the Iceman Intel.
Yeah.
He literally said this week that, "Oh, I've got breaking news that there's people outside Scott D'Amore's office who were pissed off." And that's literally how the show opened. But look, I really enjoyed Iceman Intel when it first started, but this was not needed. Like, he literally could have said, like, a few days later, he posted on Twitter or something about a 4th company coming into the Forbidden Door. Yeah, which everyone was saying Ring of Honor, blah, 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 but I'm pretty sure it's AAA who are now going to be in it. Yeah? But this one, he was just saying there's basically a riot. It was like, what the fuck is this? Why are you even putting this on TV? It's not needed.
No, it's pointless.
Yeah. And then we had...
I haven't enjoyed Iceman since, like, the 2nd segment, so...
That's it. It's gone from being I was really like hyped for it to begin with and enjoyed it, and now it's this, and it's like, this is boring. This is rubbish. You're literally telling me what's happening on the next one. Nothing's happened from last week when he said there was a ghost and poltergeist things. Nothing's happened. Like, that's not even been referenced on Impact.
No, and like when he mentioned an Impact. The Impact stars have been in talks to go to Japan. We still haven't seen that pay off yet. Nobody's gone to Japan yet.
I know that's let down as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Was there anything that happened? Anything else of any importance that happened before the match itself?
No, that was literally the 2 segments that weren't recapping Rebellion. Was the Iceman Intel. Obviously, it's a top 5 and stuff like that.
But yeah. That stuff's fun. That's fluff stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, and then so you go into the match, which is Dina versus James Storm. Obviously, Dina's with Violent by Design. Oh, one thing I forgot to say was on this episode they talk about how W. Morrissey with Violent by Design was a one-time deal.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah. They do that when they do the after they did a recap of Rebellion of Violent by Design versus Team Impact. I think they were calling them. But yeah, so you've got Dina versus James Storm. You've got Violent by Design with Dina, and you've got Chris Sabin with Storm. Dina goes to DDT Storm, who reverses it, and he gets a super kick, and he gets the pin. This match, I'm not going to lie, was a bit boring. I feel like I've seen it again and again, and I feel like that's what Impact's having the problem with at the moment. A lot of the matches are I've already seen this recently again, and it's Dina does a proper Benoit diving headbutt in the match, so that was quite proper arms up. Yeah,
I really don't know how I feel about those. I'll be honest. Well, when I see a wrestler I really like do a diving headbutt, I cringe.
Yeah.
I can't. I was like, why are people still using this move?
I agree, and so many wrestlers now say it's just a stupid move.
Daniel Bryan. Here's what it is: like Harley Race, and like everybody who did the move, who regretted it, all said it afterwards. They're like, "Don't do it, don't do it." British Bulldog, or sorry, not British Bulldog. Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid was like, "Don't do it." Like, don't do the move. Everybody says it. Everybody who does it regrets it. So just don't move.
It looks good, and I suppose if you only use it once in a while, but that once could always be the one too many. I suppose that's the problem. It's such a dangerous move.
I find it's pointlessly dangerous. I know there are safer ways of doing it, but like the Benoit style is like oof. Yeah, Cody Deana, you're Canadian, man.
That's it. I know Ben. We'll get into that here. But again, so obviously Dina loses this match, and it's like, when's the last time he won?
Oh, I know. Yeah. He hasn't won anything in forever.
I know Violent by Design have won, but he just seems to be the pin man for Violent by Design.
Yeah, he's the fall guy.
But yeah, that was everything for BTI. The match overall was an okay match. It was nothing special.
Okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Impact proper had a really great opening.
Yes.
So we have everybody at D'Amore's door, right? Pissed off. And D'Amore comes out of his office, like, meet me in the ring. Like, that, did that happen at the very end of BTR, or did that happen, like, at the beginning of the show? Because I caught that. And that was it.
The very beginning of the show. They even had the opening segment after this.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, that's how it was.
Cool. But Scott D'Amore is in the ring. He's delivering a promo about how he loves the Moxie, loves that how the initiative everybody's taking, and how everybody wants to be the guy to beat Omega. If Omega is scheduled to be here by Zoom appearance, and that's not good enough. According to the contract, Omega has to be here physically. I love that. Scott D'Amore, sneaky bastard. Good job.
I love the fact that it says even in the contract it says you'll be stripped of both belts and be suspended indefinitely from both shows, which just gives me that, hype that it's not just going to be a one and done kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, say what you want about AEW, they've been very strict about their about any kind of stipulation they've placed like that. They've been very serious about them. So
I just hope it lives up. Luckily, Impact taped so many shows at the same time that it's not going to conflict with.
No, of course not. It was a good story for this first episode. I really liked it. It was fun. D'Lo looking at his watch constantly every time you'd see him. Like, oh boy, all giddy about the idea of Omega losing the belt and being a 4-day champion. Like, it was really good. Everybody pulled it off really well.
When Scott came out of his office and got rid of everyone, told him to go to the ring, and Don comes out and is like, thanks for getting rid of the walls at the door. And he's like, oh, Kenny will be on Zoom link. And Scott's like, no, Kenny will be here in person, or we're going to strip him of the title. And that was so.
I love it. D'Amore takes no shit. But once we get in the ring itself, he tells everybody that they're going to have at Under Siege, we're doing a 6-way #1 contendership match for Kenny Omega's belt.
Yep.
He wants to give everybody as many chances as possible. So they're going to be doing qualifying matches to get into the six-way match, which I love that.
Yep.
Because it's not like you're doing qualifying matches to put somebody into a tournament. Because if you're doing qualifying matches to put someone in a tournament, then you're actually just doing a first round, but you're not calling it the first round. You know, it's a little thing like that. So this is cool. I love this idea.
Hey, Scott mentions that in the contract, Swan doesn't get a rematch.
Yes, that's true. He also mentions that Swan is not there.
Yes.
And I feel like Swan's not going to be here for a little bit. But calls up Jake something into the ring. Tells him that he's always had it what it takes. But lately he's been really stepping it up and showing everybody what Jake something is made out of. And he's going to be in the first qualifying match versus this man. And you see Ace Austin getting ready to get into the ring because he's pointing towards the ramp. And I love that. That's a very clever little thing for Ace to do. Because then Chris Bay's music hit.
I didn't even notice that.
I loved it, dude. It was so cool. It was just like, oh, that's clever. But Chris Bay, man, and Chris Bay and Ace Austin was the one on, like, right in Chris Bay's face, of course, because of that. So, and yeah, Thursday, of course.
Thursday, yeah.
But no, I'm so pumped to see Chris Bay back. Your son must be, like, super, super crazy happy to see Chris Bay back from injury.
Yes, completely. Honestly, he was proper marked out.
But how'd the match go for him? Let's go over that.
So let's go. The match itself was so good. Like, just, but it ends with Rohit grabbing something's leg, and then Bay drop kicking something from behind, and then getting a roll up pin.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth, roll up pins, man, they're just seem to be everywhere.
The ropes.
Pardon?
Roll up pin, but he had his feet on the second rope.
Did he?
Yeah.
I didn't even.
Where were you during this match?
I was just so hyped to see Chris Bay back, I think.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, man, like that. He struggled to get his feet on the ropes. It was not clean. It was pretty sloppy, I will admit. But there's some ring rust. There's a bit of ring rust. Just a little tiny thing. And you know what? It happens. He came back from injury. He's going to have ring rust.
Yeah, and he looked good.
Yeah, because he didn't lose a step, dude. He barely lost a step. Come on, it's Chris Bay. I'm so pumped. It's sad that it's Jake something taking the fall. I will admit. I feel like they can do something better with Jake something than putting him in that six-man number contendership match anyway. Because if it's not going to be him that wins it, then he probably shouldn't be in it.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. What would you see Jake something do now? Because like the thing with Violent by Design just fizzled out.
Yeah.
I don't see where his next step is.
I see Ace Austin coming up. Well, I mean, like him and Rohit are going to do something, obviously.
Yeah, obviously that.
And that's going to involve Shira. But I see him going after Ace Austin sometime soon and like beating down Fulton to get to Ace type thing.
That makes me sad because I don't want to see him beat Ace, but I don't want to see him lose.
Yeah, because I think and this will ultimately just lead to Jake being a face versus face for Josh. Like face versus face defense for Josh. And it's either you make Josh lose it and turn him heel in that case because of the loss, or you can turn him heel at the end of the match, or you have so many options. You can do so much shit with that one there, and Josh can do anything. It'll be great.
Yeah.
A great first qualifying match. Super happy to see Chris Bay back. We cut to backstage interviews after this, I believe. This is the first one with Callis, correct?
Yeah, he's on the phone and he says, just get the jet, get here as quick as you can. And then Sami Callihan rocks
That's when
up.
Sammy shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sammy's like just telling him, man, like, look, I don't care what you and Omega, all this big intricate plan designing, like, whatever. I'm taking it back from Omega. Like, I'm the one who's gonna take it. I really liked that. It was fun. It was a good promo from Sammy, but he almost never has a bad promo.
He doesn't, does he really? Sammy is probably my all-time favourite wrestler at the moment. Like, I just enjoy everything he does. Every match he has, the person is in the match with looks fucking incredible.
Honestly, like, right now, I feel like he's the backbone of Impact Wrestling. Eddie Edwards is the heart and soul, and he's the backbone.
No, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah. After this, we get Kimberley talking about how she's going to be taking on, or is it Kimberley, or do they go to Wilde first?
It's Taylor Wilde.
Sorry.
Taylor Wilde is talking about her first match back in 10 years, and then Dashwood rocks up.
Oh, delusional Dashwood.
Yeah, I absolutely love this character.
I mean, I've dealt with people like this.
I'm sorry.
No, but like, she's like, I'm here to win. Yeah, I'm here for Deana. I'm here to win the Knockouts title. She's like, yeah, of course, Knockouts tag team titles. Yeah, Like, Tenille just hears what she wants. And I love it, but I hate it because I've dealt with people like that. Give them an inch and they take a mile, and you're like, oh, that's not what I said.
Yeah, she's like, I don't want to be your partner. And she's like, what?
just straight up, I don't want to be your partner, and just leaves.
Yeah.
And Caleb tries to like take it, be like, oh, she's like what the TikTok kids say, like, I was like, oh god, no, they don't. Like, I don't have TikTok, but I can tell you right now, no, they don't.
I don't know, like, my kids say some stuff that I look at and I'm like, what are you saying? Like, what?
To be fair, dude, they never should have invented minions, because now I don't understand anything any kid says.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you have a secret language in between, like, only kids know now. God damn. Anyway, off topic. Sorry, that's what happens when you have only the two dads on the episode and Jordan's not here.
Dad talk this week.
Yeah. But this was good. I loved it by Tenille. Well, just being Tenille.
Mm-hmm. And Caleb with a K, honestly. Again, like, with him when he first started, like, being with Dashwood, I wasn't that into it. I didn't like it. They just work so well together now. You can see they just proper, like, gel together really well.
They just get it. They figured it out. It's what it is. You got to give it time. You just got to give people time.
And you know what? I'm so glad that Impact did give it time, because when it first started, I could have killed it off straight away. I wasn't impressed by it. But actually, all of this, the only thing I'm disappointed with is that Tenille Dashwood hasn't got her talk show going. Like, she's done one, and that's it. I would like to see, because that was really funny.
Yeah, that would have been good. But what do we go into next?
So Sam Beale comes to the ring, and then Moxley comes out.
Man, I'm super pumped to see Sam Beale, because first of all, Sam Beale got an entrance this time, had his music going. Good for him, man. I am so happy for him. This is what, his third appearance now, his third match, basically, for Impact.
It could be his fourth appearance, third match. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fourth appearance, third match. That's what I think it is. Yeah, that makes sense. But man, he's doing good. And if he wasn't against a guy like W. Morrissey, he would look like a giant. But Morrissey is a giant, so.
And then you get Morrissey come out and say, "You may recognise this face, but you don't know who I am." and then started just basically saying how the wrestlers in the back and everyone else, face good, they'll make it for you hugs. They don't care for you, and the only difference is I've got the balls to tell you I don't care for you. Really, is what his promo was.
Yep. I respect anybody who can wrestle in jeans.
Yeah.
And still pull big boots. Good on you.
Here's the thing. He nearly didn't wrestle at Rebellion because he didn't have any wrestling gear with him.
Well, I mean, like, technically, like, he made an indie appearance recently, like, after Lariato Pro, right? Yeah. And technically that happened after the filming of Rebellion. Rebellion happened first, right? Because it was pre-recorded. So yeah, I can understand that. He just didn't have any gear.
Again, I don't know how true this is, but it's something that I heard. He needed to wrestle because he didn't have any gear with him.
I mean, like, Gallows is back there. They're like the same height, right?
Come out in a Good Brothers top. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been funny. But yeah, and this was a squash match. Absolutely.
Felt sorry for Sam Beale being in a squash match, but I suppose you've got to start somewhere, haven't you, really?
Yeah, he's getting squashed a lot, but let's face it, Impact doesn't have anybody in that position.
Yeah.
And being in that position gets him used and gets him on TV and puts him in main events on indie scene.
Yeah.
So
this match, like you said, very squash match. You know, Morrissey gets a clothesline, he picks him up and he does a powerbomb to get the pin.
Yep. Good, clean.
Yeah. Very good match. Well, it's not even, I can't even say it's a good match. It was a very quick match that did its job of making Morrissey look like
good squash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good use of a squash. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next, you get Kimberley, Deana, and the Crack is definitely back, fucking shaking and jiggling about and stuff. Like,
no, she's legitimately talking to the voice of Su Yung. That's what she's doing, man. Think about it. Like, she's talking to that little voice whispering behind her ear. She's turning around and she's like pointing at it, bitching at it, whispering. I'm like, oh man, she's totally just talking to the voice of Su Yung. I love it.
I didn't even pick up on that. That was very, but
that's
definitely.
How I saw it. That's how I saw it anyway, because she's always like, she's such a character-driven person. Like, the way she thinks has to be like. But yeah, then we have Kimber, who's just like saying that, like, you know, she's going to take on Taylor Wilde, and she's going to do so with her two, she's about to say, arms tied behind her back, and you can kind of see her about to do the motion for it, and then she corrects herself, and she's like, my two friends by my side. Like, it's a little obvious. It was pretty obvious. Like, was that your best take? Because that's not... I mean, I know Impact tries to do things in as little takes as possible, because then it keeps that live pro wrestling feel. Mm-hmm. But still. Oof.
But, so at this point you get Deana say, you got there with just you and Susan. I'll beat everyone there is to beat. Dashwood's the same. No. Wild's going to be the same. And then you get Havoc walking, and she just smiles.
Yeah, I love that, because Havoc just has to walk in and look at her, and you know exactly everything Havoc is saying is, really? Everybody? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I love it.
Which I reckon will be the next storyline after.
After what?
It might even be this storyline. This might just end real quick and go straight into Havoc.
I mean, it'd be, yeah. I think going into I think Havoc first, and let Wild build her wins, would be a good idea.
Do this like storyline with Dashwood as well. That would be quite good. And then next we get Willie Mack, talking about WC Morrissey and how everyone comes at him, and that he's challenging Morrissey to a match at Under Siege.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry. If Jordan was here,
Jordan would feel so bad for Willie Mack right now. I know.
Yeah.
Because he's not winning this. He's not winning this match. There's no way.
He is, again, Impact have got so many people that just have the loss. Here you go. Here's your loss for this week. Here's your loss. And it gets to a point where you're even telling me, this has just made our predictions just easier. Let's face it, we've got a match now where we know W. Morrissey is going to pick up a win.
Yep. I mean, you never know. Maybe Mac will do it, but it's going to be an upset.
Yeah. Like, if it had been Trey Miguel, obviously they couldn't give Trey Miguel the loss right now, but if it had been Trey Miguel or anyone else challenging him, I could have been like, oh, this is going to be a match that I can look forward to and not know the winner. But
yeah.
I may be wrong. But
yeah, just the way they're using Willie Mack.
Yeah. Like, when's the last time Willie Mack had a win?
He's the, at the moment, he's kind of like the martyr for the jobbers. Like, he's, you know what I mean? Like, he even said it, like, oh, poor Sam Beal. Like, he's doing this for Sam Beal as well as himself. Like, I'm like, there you go. You just did it. You're doing this for the people who are, I use the term jobber. I mean no disrespect for it. It's just the term, per se. But, the enhancement talent. There we go. If people prefer that or respect enhancement talent, let me know in the comments down below what you want me to use.
But and then next we go into Kimberley versus Keller Wilde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really this is a good match. I enjoyed it. This was fun.
I think for 10 years out of the ring.
Yeah.
And I don't believe she's done any things before coming back.
I believe she's done seminars. And that is it.
Yeah.
When it comes to actual wrestling and being around a ring, I believe she's done a few seminars out in Ontario, and that's it. But I'm not even 100% sure on that. That's just that's people that I've asked are like, I think she might have, but it would have been a while back.
Yeah. But you can tell that she's definitely, decided to come back and gone and trained. There doesn't be any ring rust there. She wasn't sloppy at any point, and it worked pretty well.
I will say the fact that Matt Stryker calls her submission style kooky and weird, I'm like, really? Because Allie uses that style? I've seen Rosemary use that style. I'm like, maybe it's just a women's Canadian submission style? I don't know. But I'm like, I don't know. It didn't seem like I've seen people do this kind of stuff before. But whatever, it's fine.
I didn't know there was any Canadian wrestlers.
Yeah, very funny.
But so Kim goes to the top rope. She goes to do a swanton, but misses. And then Wilde does what their words were, some sort of Indian deathlock. She gets the win.
Yeah. I mean, there's a difference between a sharpshooter and... sharpshooter, God. There's a difference between a figure four and an Indian deathlock. But, it's like the difference between a scorpion deathlock and a figure four. And a sharpshooter. God damn it. Sorry, guys.
But there's a point in the match where Susan makes Wilde smell her shoe. What? That is a crackhead move, that is.
Susan has thrown her shoe at people. She's smacked people in the face with it. Now she's just trying to find new things to do with the shoe at this point. And that's what she came up with.
It worked. It fit the crackhead And then, so after the match, you get Susan attacks Wilde, and Dashwood makes the save.
Yeah. And I love how Taylor Wilde is looking at her like, I guess, thank you.
And she stood there. And Caleb with a K is taking pictures on the outside of the ring. Like that.
Yeah.
So funny.
Tennille is going to be a good first, like, serious, like, Under Siege. It's going to be Tennille versus Taylor Wilde, most likely.
Yeah. And then next, okay, I wouldn't normally bring this up, but we have a recap of Rebellion from 2019.
Yeah.
So in this match, you get Ace Austin pick up the win against Petey Williams. But there was someone in the match, and I was looking, I was like, well, who's that? And he was Eddie Edwards, and he looked so much younger.
He looks so different, right?
Yeah, I looked, and I honestly didn't know who it was. I was like, who's that? And then I realised it was Eddie, and I'm like, oh my God, he looked so much younger. Only 2 years ago, he looked so much younger. What's that?
That's what hardcore deathmatch wrestling does to you? That was Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah.
Oh man. No, it's brutal.
I would normally wouldn't bring these up, but it was just one of those that because I really didn't know who it was. I really couldn't tell for that first, like, probably 45 seconds while they were showing that recap. But anyway, next we go to Scott's office.
Yeah.
And
Moose is asked by Gia if he's really gonna strip Kenny Omega, basically, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is when Moose walks up to him, and Moose is just like, "Are you serious? You're gonna make me go through all these hoops when we all know I've already earned the right to face Kenny Omega for the title. I'm the man for the job, and I'm the only one that can get it done." And Scott D'Amore answering with like, "Oh, come on, man. You're a 5-star athlete. You got 5 opponents to go through. No problem for you." I'm like, God, Scott, you were so good at this. He's so good at coming up with stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was like telling Kiera Hogan, like, "Oh, you're hot, Landa bad. You got this. No worries." You know? Great.
Yeah. And then Moose grabs Scott as well, doesn't he? And says, "We've got a lot of history." And then James Storm rocks up with bags of food.
Random food. I was trying to figure out, like, what is it?
Yeah. I was like, why's he got food? Why has he got takeaway? And then
for non-British people.
Pardon?
For non-UK people, that's takeout.
Takeout?
Yeah, we call it takeout here, not takeaway.
That's mad.
Right? I knew you were going to say something about that.
And so he basically gets in Storm's face and says, gets in Moose's face and says, "Listen, I wanted to beat the shit out of this man when he was in Team Canada. I understand where you're coming from," kind of thing. But yeah, he hands Moose some lunch and says, "My dad always says, if you're going to go fight a bigger man, make sure he's not hungry," or something along those lines. I can't quite remember what it was, but it gives him the food. Takeout.
Okay, by the sound of it, it didn't sound like James Storm really could remember what his dad said either. But I did like it. It's just very James Storm. Sometimes he just says things.
Yeah.
And this sets up the fact that next week we're getting Moose versus James Storm as the qualifying match.
You think Moose is winning this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just yes.
You think he's winning the 6-way?
Sorry?
You think he's winning the 6-way?
Oh, that I can't tell you yet. It's really hard, man. I really wait till the predictions. Wait till I'm on the spot for the predictions and I have to actually call it. But we all know if Impact actually knew how to book a great, like perfect, amazing show, I'd be the champion by now.
Unfortunately, you're not. You already know your odds of winning at Under Siege, so we don't need to go into that. It's all right.
I mean, you followed the Petey Williams formula. I can't argue with it.
I completely did. Like, honestly, the amount of takes I did, because I was just laughing while doing it. It was, honestly. Shout out to my missus for recording it for me as well.
Thank you very much. But yes. Sorry, where we landed. Back on track. We get off track more when Jordan's not here. How is that possible?
I know, yeah. Jordan keeps us on track, obviously. So next we've got Ace Austin versus Josh Alexander for the TNA X Division title, and it's the rematch.
Yes, this makes sense to me because Ace lost it in a triple threat. Sure. Okay. It solidifies Josh as the new champion as well. And this was awesome. If it wasn't for the main event, this would be the match of the night. Like, no, I loved it. There's almost no Fulton intervention, just like one key spot, really. And that's something I love. Like, Madman Fulton is really, really good at knowing when to do shit. Like, what is too much, what is not enough. Like, he always knows exactly how far to go. I don't know if he's being given, like, who's giving him these directions, or if he's coming up with it on his own, like how much to go on his own. But they are doing an amazing job with Fulton, as good a job with Fulton as they're doing with Ace. And I just wanted to bring it up because I don't think we mention it quite often enough. But yeah, no, and the match was spectacular.
Yes. The match ends when Josh catches Ace from the top rope, and he does a backbreaker of sorts, and then he gets the ankle lock and gets the win.
He transitions from a backbreaker to an ankle lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. He hits an angle slam at some point, which they just call it the Olympic slam, I believe. I'm not sure. But, like, yeah, he actually hits one at some point. Like, Josh was on fire in this match. He had some beautiful and great offense, and he's so varied. I'm excited to see what his X Division title run is really going to be like.
He did an interview recently saying that he's happy at Impact, and he has no plans on leaving, which makes me happy. I don't want to see Mo go over and join Ethan Page.
He was actually, yeah, that's great. He was actually scheduled to wrestle in Nova Scotia over in Jordan's part of Canada, against East Coast Predator Titus, one of our local legends. Really, he's amazing. He's one of the biggest guys we have. He's one of the best guys we have in the Maritimes. And yeah, that would have been amazing to see, but unfortunately because of COVID, it just never happened. But I still believe we can get, like, Josh Alexander will be in the Maritimes one day. I'm sure of it.
There's a point where Ace does a kick to Josh. He kicks him in the face, and Josh just, like, crumbles like he's been knocked out. He sold it so well.
Yeah, as soon as you mention it, I see it in my head. You're right. It was really good.
It was absolutely awesome. Like, I actually thought he got knocked out there for a second, but that's how well it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is just great.
Both amazing back and forth and really did well.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see what they do with Josh. I'm just excited to see Josh with a belt in a singles division. Let's go. What's up next?
So we get Don Callis, who is on the phone to Kenny, telling him to hurry.
Yeah.
And then Swinger rocks up. And he's like, yo, Daddy, about the money. He's got Hernandez with him, which, if you hadn't watched BTR, you'd have no idea why Hernandez was there.
No, you're right. But because I didn't. I was like, oh, why are these two hanging out? It kind of makes sense, but why are these two hanging out?
Yeah.
You know, like, keep going.
Yeah. So Callis basically says to Swinger, don't worry about the money. Just get Kenny here on time.
Yeah, get Kenny here, we'll be even. I love what he says to Kenny, too. He's like, somebody there will be there to pick you up. It's going to be an idiot or a moron, but they're going to be there. Somebody will be there to pick you up.
Most expensive taxi ride ever, yeah?
Sorry?
Most expensive taxi ride ever.
Yes, really. Really. Like, my God. He paid Hernandez for nothing, though. Like, that was pointless.
Yes.
But now I know the implication was that Hernandez was about to beat up Don Callis.
That would have been better. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been so good. Then we would have gotten Hernandez versus, like, Luke Gallows or something. That would have been cool. I would have watched
Don Callis
versus the Jackal. Oh, we forgot to mention Callahan actually calls him the Jackal. I like that. That was a good shout out.
Yeah.
I call you the Jackal, right? Since it's what you are. That was good.
And then we go into Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellring. Ellring.
You know who her dad is, right?
Yeah, I know who her dad is. I just always goes with the last name. I know who her dad is.
I was just making sure. Well, I mean, like, I will do one thing. Like, Impact is not shoving, like, the fact that her dad is Paul Ellering, like the Paul Ellering, down our throats. Like, they mention her family lineage, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And I will give them that. Good job.
And then Byron Flavor rock up as they're doing a promo and say that the only reason they won is because of Rach, and that Jordan Grace can't do it on her own, and that they're having a rematch Under Siege.
I'm like, it's a tag team match. Of course she can't do it on her own.
She's tried 3 different partners, is what they say. She's 3 different partners.
But I did actually really enjoy Rachel Ellering and Jordan Grace's promo when they were saying the whole, like, you know, it's taken me 3 partners. And Rachel's like, it's taken me, like, multiple attempts to make pro wrestling work. Because what was I saying about her before? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I was really unsure going into the match about how she was going to beat Rebellion. And she performed incredibly. She did really good. And I'm like, you know what? That promo is directed at people like me. Totally. I am the target for that promo. Absolutely. I'm one of those people. So I'm like, you know what? Like, no, you shut me up. You proved me right. Yeah, you proved me right. Fuck, sorry. Prove me wrong. So, you know, I'm fine. I'll see what she can do.
I've got to say one thing. Fire and Flavor, they need to be holding those tag team titles.
Oh, yeah, right?
They look so much better with the tag team titles.
They're going to win them back eventually.
Yeah.
I think they should win them back in, like, this big, like a big...
Slammiversary.
Slammiversary, sure, but I'm trying to think
how. Who's coming up that have been announced.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if they carry this storyline on for those 3 months, I think personally it'll be too much.
Could be. I just want to see them win it in a big multi-women tag match thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to have, like, 4 teams involved. I don't know what it is. Make it an interesting stipulation. Figure it out, Impact.
It's your job, not ours.
It's not ours. If you want to make it my job, on the other hand, I'd gladly accept it.
Well, I already predicted The Rock. Stealing all our ideas. Ridiculous.
It's true.
And then we get Myers versus Cardona.
Which, okay, I didn't want to see this again. But I was like, okay, it's a contendership match. It's a qualifiers match, so for the contendership. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So I guess it gives it purpose, and then the match exceeded my expectations.
I was pissed off that we had this again.
I mean, I wasn't happy to see it again, but at least they kind of made sense.
Yeah, but they could have literally put any two people. Like, they already knew who was going in, so they could have put Storm in this match, they could have put Sabin in this match, anyone. So it wasn't just a repeat of the last show for Impact I watched.
Yeah, I suppose, because also what's going to happen is Myers is going to lose in the 6-man elimination match. Cardona's going to lose in 6-man elimination match, most likely. And because he's going to lose in it, Myers is going to be like, oh, you cost me my shot. I would have won that match. And then they're going to keep going and keep feuding.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. But
I really hope that doesn't happen. I really hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But that's the obvious route. And I feel like they're just taking the super obvious route with these two.
Myers works the leg for the whole match, which was really good. And Matt Cardona sold it really well, you know. And then, so Myers he starts running at Cardona, and Cardona hits the radio silence and gets the pin.
Yeah. Good ending. Good finish.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But Myers just won at Rebellion. Why does he need to pick up the loss now? Like, if you didn't want him...
I know. It's just going to keep the feud going, like I said. It's just to keep the feud going, literally. Now they have to have a rubber match.
Yeah.
Yep. It's unfortunate.
Then we get a Violent by Design promo.
Yes. Which Cody Deaner lost to James Storm, but so did I. Ooh. Whoa.
There's no shame in that.
Yeah, that's cool though. But I'm like, where's your whipping?
Yeah.
Why aren't you getting your ass beat by Doran? Like, what's going on here? You can throw it out, but you can't take it, Eric Young.
The whole thing, like, it's just, this promo was amazing. Look, at the end, he put, "You're dead to us if you're dead to yourself," and then he whispers, "I would be really worried about that." Just so perfect. But what this promo was basically doing was setting up Rhino versus Sabin.
Yeah.
Next week. Yeah.
And that's a qualifier. So
next week we get James Storm versus a Moose and Chris Sabin versus a Rhino. They're both to get into the match.
Oh God, I feel like there's a theme going on here. You're right. But what is the third qualifying match? Since we mentioned the other two.
Say again, sorry.
Since we mentioned the other two, what's the third qualifying match that's going on this week's episode?
I don't remember. Do you?
Nope.
They said it, and I know once I start watching next week, I'll be like, "Oh, that's it." I can't remember.
No, off the top of my head, I don't remember it, but it's fine. So what are we going to next?
So next, we go into New Japan Pro Wrestling. Bullet Club logo stop playing. And El Phantasmo will be debuting next week.
Yes. So my first experience with El Phantasmo was actually in What Culture Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But yeah, in New Japan Strong, he is such a prick, man. Like, it's incredible. He's such an asshole. I love it. And I love how, like, even in Japan proper, he's such an absolute piece of shit. He's just cocky and arrogant in every single way. But do you have any experience with him?
Just a little bit that I've seen. I've seen a few of his matches. What do you see him doing when he does finally come into it? Like, where do you see him being put into?
I mean, like, X Division is the obvious thing because of his style. I've recently watched him beat Leo Rush in New Japan Strong. Not recently, but like last time I remember seeing him in New Japan Strong, he beat Leo Rush. Man, like, I'm not 100% sure because like I almost feel like he's the scout, right? Like, he's the scout.
Yeah.
Because when you start a war, that's what you do, and then you bring in the guerrillas to take them out. I think I really hope that this just means Good Brothers versus Guerrillas of Destiny down the road, and this is just the beginning of that. The first little thing of it, in my opinion. Or maybe I'm just really hoping as a fanboy in this part. But yeah, I think it's
I agree. I agree. I think some of the Bullet Club's going to come over. I think the amount of signs that there were for the Bullet Club was. I'm pretty sure they said Bullet Club more than they actually said El Fantasmo.
I think so.
Yeah. It was literally Bullet Club, Bullet Club, Bullet Club, which I understand. You know, the Bullet Club is, I suppose, the modern day version of the NWO, really, with everything it's got going.
Kinda.
It's the closest thing you can put them to.
Yeah.
And then we go into the match. Sammy versus Edwards.
So, it hasn't been quite long enough since the last time we saw this. Not for my taste, but again, this is an old reliable. This is their reliable match, and yeah, ultimately, like, as much as I would be like, still be like, oh, it hasn't been long enough. If you gave this to me in another month and a half, I'd say the same thing, but I'd still take it and I'd still be happy. You know what I mean? So,
Eddie Edwards only weeks ago, I was saying Eddie Edwards is boring. And I'm bored of seeing him do the same thing. Well, actually, luckily for me, in this match, obviously, so the match ends when Kenny and the Good Brothers run down and just attack everyone.
Yes.
Finjuice come and make the save, but get their ass whooped.
They go for an AEW style ending. I'm like, oh, Kenny Omega's the champion now, so Impact's gonna end like Dynamite. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. But no, so go back to Eddie, and this could be something new for him. This is something that, you know, I look forward to seeing him team with Finjuice.
Yes, that's gonna be cool. I think he's the perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
Because we were saying, like, he is, like, because of his experience with Pro Wrestling Noah, he is that Japanese contingent.
Yeah. So Sammy's gone into the six-way. There wasn't a defined winner. How did Sammy and Eddie decide who was going to go in?
Sammy's the one who got hit first. Therefore, Sammy wins by disqualification.
Thank you for clearing that up, because I really didn't like.
I mean, like, I don't think they actually said it out loud, but that's what Sammy got hit first, so therefore Sammy is the one who wins by DQ, technically.
Sweet. I can understand that now, but I just imagine them both sitting backstage, hating each other's guts, being like, can I have it? All right, well, I'll team with this New Japan team then. Go on, suppose.
Sammy's like, come on, you know I can't fit in with those two guys. You'll do better. Yeah, sure. Oh, God.
At the beginning of the match, Sammy's blowing kisses at Eddie Edwards as well. That was funny.
I fucking love it.
And there was
I love.
proper slap.
Yeah. At this point, those two are slapstick humor between each other too. Like they can pull that shit off in the middle of the ring and it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it was a really good episode of Impact overall. There's like other than like Myers versus Cardona, I think this is great.
I totally agree. Even the Myers versus Cardona match was still a good match. It was just I've literally just watched this. Why are we rinse and recycle it, like rinse and repeat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. That's the only issue. So normally, sorry?
And that was the end of the show.
Yeah. So normally we'd be doing Making an Impact, but we're going to put that one aside for a little while.
Which I'm just going to say I'm really pissed off because this week's Making an Impact is probably the most important one I've ever had. It was probably one of the greatest champions on earth at the moment.
Jesus Christ.
The predictions champion, the modern day Viking, Jay Scriven. He was just going to take that best one I've ever picked,
Oh God, I wish that's such a Jordan thing to do.
I know, yeah.
Oh God.
Having him come in, I just have him as the owner. He just seems like he knows what he's doing.
Okay then, we'll keep that one in mind. We're going to be going into top threes for a while instead. We're going to rotate. We're going to do some different top threes every week. We'll come back to Making an Impact eventually.
It's just been so difficult that we've got past so many now that I think it's getting so difficult to pick.
Well, the indie scene in Canada, the indie scene in the States, like things are starting to open up. Things are starting to like really happen again. So I think give it like 2-3 months, we're gonna have a brand new crop of names to choose from. I'm sure. So we're gonna start with top threes. We're going to go with top 3 Canadian-born wrestlers. We can do British-born wrestlers next week if you want. It's fine.
Oh, I'm not hurt. It's okay. I've had my cry.
So I'll start. Being the Canadian, I'll start.
We've got to make Jordan do 2 next week.
We just got to do 2. He's going to open with his Canadian. He's opening the show. You hear that, Jordan? You're opening the show next week with your top 3 Canadian. See if he watches the product.
Yeah, we won't mention it to him, just see. We'll start the show next week in just silence, waiting for him to say it.
Oh, God, that'd be great. I should do this now. Okay, but my top 3 Canadian-born wrestlers. My number 3, this one was influential for me in many, many, many ways. My number 3 is Chris Benoit. And a lot of people find, everybody can agree about how amazing Chris Benoit was in the ring and everything he's done for wrestling, and everybody knows that the ending of his story is extremely tragic. I cannot watch Dark Side of the Ring without crying like a little baby. I've watched the Chris Benoit episodes multiple times. They always make me cry. They just do. Chris Benoit and Eddie Edwards and Eddie Guerrero were both very formative for me.
Yeah.
As a pro wrestling fan, because I only really got serious as a pro wrestling fan in 2002. So, and when he died, I kind of just stopped. I just stopped for a while, for a long time, like 10 years. So yeah, that's my number 3. Your number 3.
My number 3 is Owen Hart. Now, I picked Owen, so obviously I'm going with my personal favorite, and Owen Hart, I loved him. Again, he died so tragically. I suppose you could say due to mistakes of other people, but he never actually won the WWE Championship properly, and that was so sad. He just deserved so much more than he got, and yeah, so I got Owen Hart as my number 3.
And just to clarify, these are our personal top 3 favorites, not who we believe are the 3 best of all time, or just our 3 favorite Canadian-born wrestlers. My number 2 is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is, still is he's the greatest active wrestler based on his lineage and story. Based on his legacy, everybody who's still actively wrestling today, now that Jushin Thunder Liger has retired, everybody who's still wrestling today, he has the most impressive lineage.
No, I agree.
And I'll be honest, we're getting into wrestling and seeing him as Intercontinental Champion. Seeing him as Tag Team Champion with Christian. That, having those Canadians on screen was a really, really huge deal for me. I'm sure you understand what that's like, having the representation, right? So, it was a huge deal. And that, I've always said it, the Intercontinental belt, when it comes to Canada, that is our heavyweight belt. A lot of Canadian fans, when I talk to them, they're like, "Oh yeah, I love the big gold eagle belt because of the era and what it represents, whatever, when they were kids." But ultimately, that Intercontinental holds it extremely close. It's extremely important to us. Pat Patterson being the first champion, as well as Jericho having the longest reigns, and it's just an amazing. It's just an amazing lineage.
First undisputed champion as well, wasn't he?
Yes, first undisputed champion. I can't even crazy good. Jericho's amazing. Your number 2?
My number 2, I've just got to say Jericho is amazing, but my number 2 is Bobby Roode. Not so much now he's been in WWE. He's not as much on the radar, but back in TNA, he was just my favorite TNA wrestler at the time, and I absolutely loved him. That just beer money as well, and incredible. I don't even know where to start. Bobby Roode, I just absolutely loved everything he did. So that's why Bobby Roode made it into number 2.
You are a TNA era fan as well. That's important to you.
Yeah, I've watched TNA from the absolute beginning, and we have a channel called Dave. I think it was even on Dave. It was on this random channel at one point, and you wouldn't even get it in order. You'd just get a show now and again. And then when it finally got onto Challenge, and it was on Challenge for so many years, and it was the biggest wrestling promotion to watch in the UK. It was on free TV. The pay-per-views were on free TV. Everyone was just on free TV. And they sold out Wembley Arena, which is massive. WWE, they sold it out faster than WWE sold out Wembley Arena. It was absolutely immense. And you still get those clips now. Not so much, but you did for many years of Hulk Hogan walking out to Wembley Arena and it just being full.
I've seen those.
Yeah, everyone has. They played them so many times.
My favorite of all time is, in my opinion, the greatest Canadian-born wrestler of all time, because he is probably the reason why I fell in love with wrestling in the first place, back when I was a little kid. Roddy Piper. Something about him. I remember, I've said it before on the channel, being babysat by my cousin. He had tapes of WrestleMania 1 and the first or second Rumble, things like that, and Piper. Just Piper's promos. And I think Piper versus Bret Hart is probably my second favorite singles match of all time. I don't even need to say when. I just say Piper versus Bret Hart. Everybody knows. And because it's so, that storytelling in that match, incredible. And Jericho I've always said Jericho is my favorite wrestler of all time, hands down. Blah blah blah. Jericho #1. But I think after watching, A&E did an incredible documentary on him, and I think after watching it, I was just like, no, like there's just, it made me like remember so many things from when I was a kid, and I was just like, I have to say, like, Jericho is my favorite active wrestler, but I have to say that Piper is probably my favorite wrestler of all time, just because he's the reason why I'm a fan.
That's understandable. I watched the same documentary, and it just, I forgot about him. As harsh as that sounds, it's not that I forgot he existed. I just forgot all the great stuff he did, and he really did do some incredible stuff.
I mean, you look at the other names that were around when he was at the height, and you have Ric Flair, Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat, Jimmy Snuka. Think about all the people who were like big deals when he was starting, when he was really starting to peak. So yeah, it's easy to slip through the cracks, and when you're a smaller guy who didn't get as many pushes.
See, my #1 is not just my #1 Canadian wrestler; he's my all-time favorite wrestler, and it is Chris Benoit. Like, as tragic as his story is, and we don't even need to go into it, everyone knows it, he is my absolute all-time favorite wrestler. His entrance music is my ringtone, like absolutely everything. The moment him and Eddie both won the titles on the same night, and Eddie comes to the ring and they just hug, is just one of my fondest memories of wrestling. You know, and you talk about Dark Side of the Ring and how heartbreaking it is. I think it had everyone in tears. You got that meme, you know, do men even cry? And then, yeah, just put this episode on for me. I watched it with my missus, and she was like, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "No."
Oh no, man! I'm not afraid to admit it. Like, I cry. I watch stuff. Like, things make me cry. I get emotional. I listen to lyrics to songs, and I'll get teary eyed. Like, whatever. I'm very emotional. I'm not afraid to admit it. But no, like, man, that was that Dark Side of the Ring. They are incredible.
Yeah,
everything they do is incredible.
And if they want to sponsor us, by the way, we'll absolutely put their ads on.
I can't wait to watch the Brian Pillman episode next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 days from when this gets posted, I believe. So anyway, everybody, that's everything from me and Jay for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. And we'll be back next Wednesday so we can give you a little bit of what's happening in Dynamite in case they ever decide to actually bring up Impact. Have a good one, everybody. Oh.
One sec. Or else.